Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the TNE Challenge number 3. We are going to jump into our next feature match soon, but before we do, our decklist viewer is working again. So, Kate, let's take a look at AlexFiero's deck. What do you think?
I think it is a beautiful little absolute just tons of value, tons of very sweet cards. They are running the new Zitrom. That was just released this week. The new promo, 2 copies.
Really quick, I'm gonna interrupt you. We thought we had the deck viewer working, and it appears to have
Oh
stopped
dear.
working again. Oh no! So viewers, our Theo Master on Production is going to try to get this working for us, but in the meantime, just follow along with the deck doc and open up the Eternal Warcry links. Sorry, we are looking at AlexFiero's deck. Yeah. Oh, it is pulling up the wrong lists. Okay, so more technical difficulties. This is what happens when you code things to make things easier. Things are breakable. Anyway, let's jump back into the deck.
Code? I barely know her. Uh, Alex is actually a teammate of mine. Uh, from the Glorious Gathering, which they have a copy of in their completely legitimate, non-black, non-counterfeit market, with many ways of accessing it.
Yeah. um this seems like it could be a pretty spicy deck depending on who you're up against, right? There it's very controlling. Um has lots of grind to it. And yeah, it should be interesting to watch. How about we take a look at the enemy deck though? How do you feel about playing this into TJP control, run by none other than the control master, TheBergund?
I would feel a lot more comfortable if the Bergman were actually running some copies of Eight of the Huru that you could get some cheeky steals with the new Zitram off. But the Bergund is on basically Davia value here. We have a playset of Harsh Rules, a playset of New Beginning. You got your playset of Wisdom, playset of Torgov's Wares, Island's Favor, a full playset of Disjunction, which you don't usually see that often.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually just a handful of copies.
I guess when your main win conditions aside from Davia are relics, probably using that mode to bring it back pretty often, right? Buy back your platings, and then if the enemy happens to have something too spicy, then we go from there. Anyway, it looks like our match has started and is underway.
This should be a really interesting one. I feel.
AlexFiero off to a quick start, playing the Oni Insider and getting a Warhelm.
Taking an aggressive slant here. No Zido for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, normally this
Uh,
deck feels like it wants to grind, take a little bit of time setting up, but
not playing the Wormhelm here, just keeping it for something a bit more impactful. Maybe giving a Magniventrix charge in order to be able to swing very very quickly, very
yeah.
furiously.
Warhelm seems like it'd be pretty handy to have against a deck with all of this fast removal, right? If the Bergen has 3 power up in a condemnation ready to fire off,
And
wait
there
until
we
you can
see
charge this in and shields are down. Like
there we
this.
see the Magniventrix, just how you drew it up. Just
Yep. Just how Alex drew it up, I'm sure. But
Yeah, it's very important to be able to take advantage of these shields down moments from these very value oriented control decks.
absolutely. And then unfortunately the big downside to making a giant Magniventress is it gets the Bergen a lot of armor with these condemnations.
And
That's
that
okay.
armor is oof.
Oh no.
That losing the Argenport heirloom from those Argenport blueprints is actually going to sting a lot in the long run.
Mm. How do you feel about drawing some cards there and leaving up a condemnation instead of just playing a
Ooh.
Davia, maybe for no value, but it's a 5/5 Aegis that could just eat this Wyatt.
I'm pretty comfortable, honestly. You have a harsh rule in hand, you have another Orin condemnation. There's really no reason not to just sit back, enjoy, have a little cup of coffee, see what your opponent's doing.
Control deck doing what a control deck does. This is right in its wheelhouse.
Hmm. TheBergund going for the audience cider with that condemnation.
It gained the most armor and Wyatt,
speaking
taking out
speaking of
whatever.
Wyatt. Ooh. Fetching Battlefront Dasher with the Crownwatch Press Gang package.
That's pretty spicy once this Crown Watch press gang revenges and comes back and gets to charge in on the same turn.
There's our first of, I am sure, many harsh rules to come.
Mm-hmm. Nah. Let's see. This is gonna be this plating is gonna make quick work of Alex unless Alex can
Yeah,
get out some units.
that's a brick. So Bergund will just be able to play Davia, replay the harsh rule in their void, and just swing for 12. And that's the first game.
So that was fairly quick match for a control deck. Normally we assume these are the games that will grind and go to time, but that was blisteringly fast. At least for what we have.
The Bergund's cards line up very well. That flicker on the heirloom, quite devastating.
Mm-hmm.
And then just multiple Orient condemnations are just very hard to play through, especially when your opponent's main top end is Stormhold plating, because the more armor that the Stormhold plating has, the more difficult it is to just grind through it by just playing creatures to the board.
Mm-hmm. And actually, we have our deck list up on screen now. So again, it's a whole lot of value just playing cards, drawing cards, playing removal spells, and then Davia to rebuy things. Not your big showy stuff like Eight of the Huru, but just keep the value train going. And
Draw
then,
cards, kill stuff.
Yep. And then rely on that top end of plating and bauble just to close things out.
And also four copies of Desert Marshal, which has been a bit of a controversial inclusion to the current expedition format, one could say.
Oh yeah, why do you say that?
Well, I think a lot of people feel that Desert Marshal is a bit too efficient at what it does.
I mean, Desert Marshal since set 1, right? That has been a very strong card in almost every format that it's in.
This is in fact the Desert Marshal at its full power as a 2/2. It used to be a 2/1 for quite a long time.
Going back in, we are going to be continuing to watch from AlexFiero's side. Alex
on a very slow hand that they decided to keep. Having a bit of an issue seeing the Bergund's hand here again.
Yeah, we have our
there we go. There we go.
There it goes. Yeah, I believe that's just recording the hand cam from mobile, and mobile thinks it's being helpful when it hides the hand down in the corner. But yeah, able to pop that back up.
Alex here with a copy of Twisted Farmer, which again is one of those cards that is just very good of taking advantages. How you mentioned those dead turns from the control deck.
Right, shields down, end of turn, use all the power, and go for one massive swing. But that's really not the type of card you want early, right? That's
no, it's definitely one of those cards that you want to play once you've softened up the opponent a bit with a couple of Magniventrix hits, for example.
Fortunately, this Magniventress likely not going to connect. There is an Aura Condemnation in the Bergund's hand.
Aura Condemnation and Furious Magniventrix, name a more iconic combo. Going for another sigil here. It's gonna get flickered. That's actually a bit of an interesting play, since that was not going to play a heirloom currently.
I guess just use these. the Bergen is flush with flickers, so use it and maybe
Yeah,
hope to stall AlexFiero out. And
use them if you have them, I suppose.
I mean, Bergen has some interaction, can board wipe, but doesn't really have anything proactive going on. So maybe just trying to stall the game and hope that keeping Alex off of all their power maybe would give you an opportunity to draw what you need.
Very likely. I feel
Oh,
that that was a bit of a premature Desert Marshal from the Bergund.
hmm.
You could have probably kept back and just seen what your opponent had to offer. Especially since you see that they're on a quite value oriented deck. Generally, there are going to be more high value targets for the Desert Marshal than the
Well, notably, the silence just means that it gets rid of that little bit of advantage from Alex. The Marshal won't go back into the deck with Revenge and draw another unit.
Yeah, I suppose the press gang is a little bit annoying if it keeps generating value, but you have face ages, you got armor, you have full HP. I feel like you can just you can afford to take a couple of extra hits here.
Mm. Meanwhile, this is a
As they
perfect
do.
setup for a harsh rule, right?
Absolutely harsh rule, and then you have a couple of flickers line up just in case your opponent tries any sketchy stuff.
And there's that plating on the other side. So Bergen is pretty well set up to
Alex taking a
attempt a repeat
gamble.
of the last game.
Yeah,
Mm.
Alex taking a gamble on a Magniventrix here, trying to get in for a full 10.
Yep. Yeah, if
And
there was a condemnation on the other side, that would have been rough, but boy, did this pay off.
devastating, but very very correct read by Alex here. Do you think it is correct to play Zido here and get rid of the face ages?
I mean that's
Because
what Alex is thinking.
that is 2 power that you are not getting back next turn, which can
That's
be
true.
pretty relevant.
Especially if you want to play this 6-drop. I don't know. I kind of like keeping it just in case we're more like harsh rules and stuff and not faded out, but that
Uh,
gets
Notably, Alex here drawing a shadow sketch, which is great with their Twisted Farmer. Unfortunately, Twisted Farmer lining up very very poorly against the Bergund's flickers.
Yeah, that will be a bit of a unfortunate surprise for Alex. Alex is going to be counting on these end of turn army in a can that unfortunately just dies anyway. But it would have been enough to do the job.
Yeah, it is unfortunately just so easy for the Bergund just to keep up that 1 power. Alex here passing turn, hoping for a full 8 power on the Twisted Farmer.
Interestingly, calls it with the farmer here, and
I think that's quite reasonable.
yeah,
You put the tokens in front of the placing and the plating and basically force them to either have an answer or just break the weapon.
yep. Well, in this case, if Bergund isn't doing anything, like that could have wiped the board, right? That Davia. So the Bergund likely has some kind of answer for all your tokens.
Yeah, that's definitely something you can read into. Star's Eyes here would have been a really good in the earlier turns. In decks like these, even if you are not denying something big like Aid of the Huru, you are still making a pretty important play by denying the Davia value of multiple copies of Harsh Rule just getting reused and reused constantly.
The unfortunately that Aegis is back up. With that Zyto coming down, that will be popped again.
Davia stunning that Burning Cruelty, and then getting for 10 and a Harsh Rule. And I think that's
that
game.
is just game. Yep.
Yeah.
Again, relatively quick for the control deck, but this closed it out, and we may even have some backup matches. Oh.
We have failed to inform the viewing audience that it is actually all aggro mirrors at today.
There are a lot of Rakano aggro decks and a number of other aggro decks in the field today. People came.
Everyone is playing aggro. Even the control decks are playing aggro today.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's possible that everything's finished. Um, we will check with production and be back
We'll
soon.
yeah, we'll see you soon.
Okay, let's go to break really quick, and then we'll come back if we have a match for you. Oh, and it
Oh,
looks like we
apparently
have
we
a
do. We do
match.
have a match.
Uh,
This is we do not have the players' names, unfortunately. Oh,
well,
this
we
is
have Duocat on the
Duocat
bottom. Yep.
versus someone else.
Versus Suno.
Uh,
Uh,
yeah, they are playing Rakano Agar, so it's a bit hard to tell to tell who's who.
Duocat, I believe, is on Turbofog, which unfortunately just
Ooh,
oh, look at that. Namesake type effects of
Baven
the deck
Light,
buying time.
Baven Light, absolute current draft format all star.
Mm-hmm.
I know some community members that would would not appreciate that statement. Iron
How,
Condemnation getting 6 armor from the Phoenix here.
interestingly, like that was just a play to gain armor because you're gonna harsh rule. You could harsh rule here anyway.
Well,
Uh,
you are playing Turbo Fog, so staying alive is a very important part of the deck, especially when you have a crackling bubble going.
Oh, good catch. I did not even notice that there. Yeah, so drawing extra cards, hopefully dealing a lot of damage
Yeah.
with those cards.
Do you know what's? I believe that is Lord. No, that's not Lord Stars. What is that site actually?
That is Endless Steps. So the newest thing that's played is getting +3/+3.
Interesting. Endless Steps, I believe, plays what's her name? The
Tanya, I believe.
Tanya, the 3/3 justice units that gives something Warcry 2, if I remember
Warcry
correctly.
3, I think. I could be wrong about that.
I believe it is Warcry 2, and when the unit dies, she herself gets Warcry 4 and
Right.
doubles her stats.
Right.
A bit of Lenetka here into Harsh Rule.
Okay.
Gaining a huge 4 life here.
Gain for life, play a couple exhausted, I believe, worms. So if there, well, I guess I was going to say if there is a charging unit on top, then shields were down, but
Yep,
with a pair of units.
Playing the Wasteland Igniter for the token here.
Hey, flying that gets
That
over it, and
yeah.
oh man, and that +3/+3 that was enough to close. Duocat did a whole lot of work there, and
So
unfortunately just fell short.
notably Duocat's Lost Draw was the Desert Marshal, so they could have potentially survived that turn by not playing the Wasteland Igniter to the board.
That's it's a little bit in hindsight there, right? 2020.
Yeah, that's a bit of hindsight 2020. That's fair, but
yeah. Notably, Duocat is one of our 3 producers of the TNE this season, along with the Overmaster currently producing and myself. Duocat has the week off and came to play. So it's good. It's nice to see Duo on coverage. We're going to see if there's any more backup matches. But
4 copies of Baven Light and 4 copies of Chronostorm.
yep.
Now that is what I call playing.
Yeah. That was the last match in the round. So we are going to take a quick break and we'll be back soon with the action.